Across the vast canvas of America, the Catholic faith has brushed colors of devotion, service, and hope onto every corner of the nation. Yet among 50 states, some shine brighter. Their parishes echo with centuries-old hymns, their cathedrals rising like beacons of faith against the skyline. Others tell a newer story of growing communities, young families, and churches alive with renewed spirit. Today, we journey through the top 10 states where Catholic life beats strongest, where faith isn't just a belief, but a living rhythm woven into daily life. Whether you're curious how Catholicism has shaped American culture or wondering where your own state stands, this is your countdown. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe, and join us as we uncover where faith flourishes most, starting right now. Number 1, Rhode Island. Rhode Island rises to the top as America's most Catholic state, a place where nearly half the population carries a baptismal link to the faith. Though small in size, this coastal jewel feels wrapped in a timeless devotion that touches everything from politics to parades. Centuries ago, Irish, Italian, and Portuguese immigrants came ashore with little more than their hands and their rosaries. They built mills, neighborhoods, and parish halls that still anchor the towns today. Walk through Providence and you'll see pointed steeples piercing the sky, bells echoing over cobblestone streets, and storefront shrines glowing through the evening mist. At the heart of it all stands the Diocese of Providence, a living network of parishes, schools, and charities that pulse like arteries through every community. Sunday Mass isn't a formality here. It's a family reunion. Festivals fill the streets with incense and music, while classrooms shape both minds and morals with the same steady faith that raised them. Hospitals bearing saints' names remind residents that mercy isn't confined to prayer, but practiced daily, in nursing wards, soup kitchens, and quiet moments of kindness. In Rhode Island, Catholicism isn't merely a religion. It is the rhythm of life itself, the invisible thread that binds the smallest state with an outsized spirit of faith, service, and belonging. Number 2, California. Second on the list is California, a land where sunlight meets sanctuary. Nearly half of its residents identify as Catholic, a reflection of faith that has flowed through the state for centuries and continues to evolve with every new generation of immigrants. The story began along the coast, where the old Spanish missions still stand like sentinels of stone and prayer, their bronze bells once calling travelers and settlers to worship. These missions laid the spiritual foundation of the West, and their legacy still hums through California's culture today. From Los Angeles to San Francisco, Catholic life beats with remarkable diversity. Parishes overflow with music, incense, and languages that stretch from English and Spanish to Tagalog and Vietnamese, each Mass a mosaic of heritage and hope. So, the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, the largest in the nation, directs hundreds of schools, parishes, and charities that reach millions through education, outreach, and compassion. Catholic universities foster innovation and social engagement. Hospitals and relief centers embody mercy in motion. Across the state, faith takes to the streets in candlelit processions, lively feast days, and tireless advocacy for migrants, the poor, and the marginalized. Here, Catholicism is both ancient and alive, rooted in the adobe walls of its missions and reflected in the modern skylines that rise around them. A living dialogue between tradition and transformation that gives California's soul its unmistakable rhythm. Number 3, Texas, a land as vast as its faith. Nearly 4 in 10 Texans identify as Catholic, making the Lone Star State one of the great strongholds of Catholic life in America. The roots of that faith reach deep into the 1700s, when Spanish friars raised wooden crosses and adobe missions on open plains that would one day become bustling cities like San Antonio. Their bells once echoed across a wilderness and ranchland. Today, they ring over skylines of glass and steel, reminding Texans that their story began with prayer and perseverance. In modern Texas, Catholicism moves with the same bold energy that defines the state itself. Hispanic communities, in particular, infuse parishes with color, rhythm, and family warmth. In Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, Sunday mornings spill into the streets with music, food, and laughter. Mass followed by fellowship that feels more like a festival than a formality. The Archdiocese of San Antonio stands at the heart of this spiritual frontier, guiding hundreds of parishes, schools, and outreach programs that stretch from the Gulf Coast to the Panhandle. Catholic schools are known not only for academic rigor, but for shaping resilient leaders whose faith drives their service. Hospitals and ministries extend that mission, offering compassion that transcends language, culture, and status. Beyond church walls, the Catholic voice in Texas echoes through advocacy for immigrants, workers, and families, a moral compass in a state built on grit and generosity. From small-town fiestas to citywide processions under the Texas sun, faith here is lived out loud, stitched into the rhythm of daily life and the unshakable pride of its people. Number 4, New York, the city that never sleeps and a state where faith never fades. Around 1/3 of New Yorkers identify as Catholic, forming one of the most influential spiritual communities in the United States. At its heart stands St. Patrick's Cathedral, a masterpiece of marble and light rising above Fifth Avenue like a prayer carved in stone. Its towering spires have witnessed centuries of processions, papal visits, and quiet confessions, a sacred heartbeat in the rhythm of Manhattan. From this epicenter, the Archdiocese of New York commands a global presence, guiding parishes, schools, and charities that reach millions and giving moral voice to conversations on compassion, justice, and human dignity. New York's Catholic soul was forged by immigrants, Irish dock workers, Italian masons, Polish craftsmen, and later Latin American families, each bringing relics, hymns, and holy days that reshaped the city's calendar. Today, the streets burst with feast day banners, church bells, and the scent of a street corner incense. From the Bronx to Brooklyn, from Albany to Buffalo, every borough carries echoes of these early dreamers whose devotion built both churches and communities. Inside the city's historic sanctuaries, choirs lift Latin hymns through stained glass light. Catholic universities such as Fordham and St. John's pair scholarship with service, forming generations of thinkers who carry faith into public life. Hospitals and outreach centers marked with saints' names remain refuges for the sick, the hungry, and the forgotten. Across this empire of energy and art, Catholicism threads through New York's identity, visible in its architecture, audible in its music, and alive in its relentless drive to serve. Here, faith is not confined to pews. It walks the avenues, speaks every language, and keeps pace with the pulse of the greatest city in the world. Number 5, New Jersey. Small in size but immense in spirit, roughly 1/3 of its people identify as Catholic, making the Garden State one of the most faith-filled corners of America. From the busy streets of Newark and Jersey City to the quiet suburbs along the shore, Catholic life here hums with energy. Its story began with waves of immigrants, Italians and Irish at first, then Portuguese, Polish, and vibrant Latin American families who continue to renew the faith with every generation. They brought with them not only their prayers, but their music, their food, and their festivals, creating a living mosaic of devotion that still colors New Jersey's skyline with church steeples and its neighborhoods with holy processions. The Archdiocese of Newark stands at the center of this enduring tapestry, guiding hundreds of parishes, schools, and outreach centers that stretch across the state. Catholic schools are known for strong academics and a focus on discipline and moral growth. Families of every background seek them out as places where both intellect and faith can flourish. On weekends, streets transform into celebrations of belief, the Feast of St. Gerard, the joyful parades of St. Patrick's Day, and the vibrant devotion to Our Lady of Guadalupe. each one a reminder that faith here speaks many languages but shares one heart. In parish halls and community centers, volunteers feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, and welcome new immigrants with open arms. These acts of quiet charity are as much a part of daily life as the ringing of church bells or the gathering of families after Mass. Across New Jersey, Catholicism isn't just a religion, it's a rhythm of belonging, carried in traditions, festivals, and generations bound by shared grace. Number 6, Massachusetts, where history and faith meet on cobblestone streets and beneath centuries-old spires. Roughly one-third of its residents identify as Catholic, placing the Bay State among America's most deeply rooted centers of Catholic life. In Boston and the neighboring towns, church steeples rise above red brick rooftops like quiet witnesses to generations of baptisms, weddings, and funerals. The echoes of hymns drift through narrow streets that once welcomed ships full of Irish and Italian immigrants in search of work, hope, and freedom. They brought their rosaries and their resilience, and in doing so, built the foundations of schools, hospitals, and charities that still anchor Massachusetts today. The Archdiocese of Boston, one of the oldest and most influential in the United States, became the heart of this transformation. Its parishes nurtured faith, education, and solidarity among the working class, offering both spiritual guidance and social support to families forging a new life in America. Over time, Catholic institutions such as Boston College, Holy Cross, and dozens of parish schools grew into symbols of intellectual rigor and moral purpose, educating leaders who would shape not just the church, but the state itself. Catholic hospitals and outreach programs extend that same mission of mercy, feeding the hungry, healing the sick, and serving those who have no one else to turn to. From neighborhood food drives to grand processions on feast days, the rhythm of Catholic life pulses through every community, blending old-world devotion with New England's independent spirit. From the lively streets of Boston's North End to the quiet parishes of Cape Cod, faith in Massachusetts is more than a tradition. It's the heartbeat of belonging, woven through its architecture, its service, and its enduring sense of purpose. Number 7, Illinois, a state where the Catholic spirit runs as deep as the rivers that carve its landscape. Home to more than 3 million Catholics, roughly a quarter of the population, Illinois stands at the heart of America's faith story, a place where devotion, diversity, and history converge. Nowhere is that legacy more visible than in Chicago, where church spires rise between glass towers and neighborhoods pulse with the echo of church bells. The city's Catholic roots stretch back to waves of Irish, Polish, and Italian immigrants who built ornate parishes from brick and hope. Their traditions still linger, from Polish festivals under glowing lanterns to Italian street processions honoring saints, all now intertwined with the vibrant faith of new generations from Latin America. The Archdiocese of Chicago, one of the largest and most influential in the nation, oversees a vast network of parishes, schools, and ministries that bind the city together. At its heart stands Holy Name Cathedral, a landmark not only of worship but of endurance, a reminder that faith here is both anchor and inspiration. Beyond the urban skyline, Catholic life flourishes across the prairies and small towns of Illinois. Steeples rise above fields of corn and quiet main streets, each one marking a community bound by service, education, and fellowship. In Mundelein, the University of St. Mary of the Lake trains priests and theologians whose work shapes Catholic thought far beyond state lines. From fish fries and parish picnics to solemn processions and Sunday gatherings, the rhythm of Catholicism in Illinois beats with quiet strength, a faith lived not just in cathedrals, but in everyday acts of compassion, perseverance, and unity that continue to define the character of the state. Number 8, Pennsylvania, a cornerstone of American Catholic heritage, where faith and history intertwine through generations. Nearly a quarter of its people, more than 3 million strong, call the Catholic Church their spiritual home. In the great cities of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, Catholicism shaped the skyline and the soul alike. Stone cathedrals rise above narrow streets, their bells echoing through neighborhoods that once teemed with Irish and Italian immigrants. These newcomers brought with them not only their faith, but their determination to build, to create schools, parishes, and charities that stood as havens for the working class and the poor. The Archdiocese of Philadelphia and the Diocese of Pittsburgh became pillars of faith and progress, guiding the growth of institutions that continue to define the state. Universities such as Villanova and St. Joseph's have become centers of intellectual and spiritual life, blending academic rigor with Catholic values that have shaped civic leaders, teachers, and advocates across the nation. From coal towns in the east to steel mills in the west, Catholic parishes were the beating heart of their communities, offering not only worship, but welfare, education, and a sense of belonging. The Church's voice has long championed justice, defending workers' rights, uplifting immigrants, and caring for those who fall through society's cracks. Today, Pennsylvania's streets are alive with heritage, parish festivals, solemn processions, and school gatherings that weave the old traditions into new generations. From the majestic Cathedral Basilica of Saints Peter and Paul in Philadelphia to small rural chapels surrounded by rolling hills, faith continues to mark every corner of the Keystone State with devotion, resilience, and enduring grace. Number 9, Ohio, where faith and hard work have always gone hand in hand. Roughly 1 in 5 Ohioans, more than 2 million people, identify as Catholic, weaving the Church deeply into the social and spiritual fabric of the Buckeye State. From the great cities of Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus to the quiet rural parishes scattered across farmland and river valleys, Catholic life here feels both grounded and enduring. The story began with waves of European immigrants, German, Irish, Polish, and Italian, who arrived with little more than faith in their hearts and determination in their hands. They built not just factories and homes, but school, sanctuaries, and hospitals that became the backbone of Ohio's growing towns. Today, majestic cathedrals rise over bustling downtowns, while country chapels mark crossroads where families have worshiped for generations. These parishes are more than places of prayer. They are community centers where baptisms, weddings, and festivals bring people together in celebration and solidarity. Institutions like Xavier University and the University of Dayton continue that legacy of education and service, forming leaders rooted in compassion and intellect. The Archdiocese of Cincinnati and the Diocese of Cleveland oversee vast networks of ministries, schools, and charities that reach deep into every corner of the state, from food drives in small towns to healthcare missions in major cities. Each summer, parish fairs and feast days light up neighborhoods with music, laughter, and devotion, reminders that faith in Ohio is not just practiced, it's lived. Along every main street and country road, Catholicism remains a steady compass guiding families through change while preserving the values that first took root generations ago. Number 10, Indiana, a quiet yet steadfast heartland of Catholic life in the American Midwest. Around 1 in 5 Hoosiers, more than 1 million strong, share in a faith that has shaped the state's character for generations. The story began in the 19th century, when waves of German, Irish, and Polish immigrants journeyed across the Atlantic and into the prairies of Indiana. They arrived with little more than prayer books and perseverance, planting parishes that soon became the soul of small towns and the heartbeat of big cities like Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and South Bend. Brick by brick, they built churches, school, and hospitals, and not only as places of worship, but as sanctuaries of community. These parish halls became the backdrop for baptisms and weddings, for fish fries and fall festivals where music, food, and laughter blended with the cadence of prayer. Their legacy endures in the traditions that still bring neighbors together under church steeples every summer and Christmas season. At the center of Indiana's Catholic story stands the University of Notre Dame, a global beacon of both intellect and faith. Its golden dome glows like a promise on the horizon, a symbol of how the old world devotion of its founders continues to inspire new generations of scholars, athletes, and dreamers. Beneath its spire and along its lakeside paths, the spirit of Catholicism finds a modern expression, one rooted in service, excellence, and hope. Beyond academia, the Church's influence reaches deep into daily life. Catholic hospitals across Indiana offer healing with humanity, while charities and missions extend food, shelter, and dignity to those most in need. From grand basilicas that crown city skylines to the modest chapels nestled beside cornfields, faith here is not loud, it's lived. Across the Hoosier state, Catholicism remains a quiet force of constancy and compassion, a thread that ties generations together through service, community, and the enduring light of belief. Thank you for traveling with us through the 10 most Catholic states in America, from California's sunlit missions to Rhode Island's timeless cathedrals. Each state we visited tells a story of faith woven into the heart of its people, a living tapestry of history, devotion, and community that continues to shape the nation today. Which part of this journey moved you most? Was it the vibrant celebrations, the quiet sanctuaries, or the strength of faith passed down through generations? Share your thoughts or your own Catholic story in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if this journey inspired you or opened your eyes to something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us for more stories that explore the soul of America's spiritual landscape. Until next time, keep the faith, and we'll see you in the next video.